Hi, everybody. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on this Access to Higher Education webinar. My name's Jenna Richardson. I am the Employer Liaison Lead for the EM3 Armed Forces Veterans and Families Programme at the Forces Employment Charity. And today I am joined by Nikki from Andover College and Corianne from the University of Winchester. And the three of us are going to give you a bit of an overview about university, higher education, courses that you can do in the run up to that, and also a little bit about funding. So I'm going to start the sort of proceedings, really, and I'm just going to speak to you a little bit about funding in higher education, access to funding for higher education, which is specific to serving military families. So there's a couple of slides just to sort of talk you through the process, really. So in the UK, we have 4 funding providers, and that's based on the devolved administrations. So each of the nation's own governments administrate and deliver their higher education student finance piece. So in the UK, we have the Student Awards Agency Scotland, which is SAS, Student Finance England, SFE, Student Finance Wales, SFW, and Student Finance Northern Ireland, which is SFNI. So for most people, you simply just apply to the nation in which you're living for your student finance, and that's pretty straightforward. If you are the spouse of a veteran or the child of a veteran and you live in your own house or a private rental, then you just apply to the nation that you are living in. So essentially, if you're not living in student families accommodation, then that's the route that you should take to access student finance. It's the same as any other civilian who is applying for their higher education funding. So if we move on to the next slide, this is where it starts to get a little bit different for serving military families, because we get what's called the reciprocal agreement. So student funding is based on you having a permanent residence, but unfortunately, SFA is not classed as ordinary residence in terms of the funders policy. So in order to enable military families to still be able to access that funding, this reciprocal agreement is in place across the devolved nations. So what that means is that if your serving person is still serving and you are living in service families accommodation, then you should be applying for your student finance from the nation where your serving person lived at the time they joined the military. It does sound a little bit bizarre. It does sound a little bit strange. I give you that. However, this is in place to ensure that even though mobile military families are not technically in a permanent residence, they can still access the same funding as civilian counterparts. So what I mean, there's a bit of an example at the bottom. So if you were a military spouse who was Scottish by birth and you were living in Wales with your serving spouse who joined the military in England, you should apply for your funding from Student Finance England. Like I say, I know that sounds a little bit strange, but that's how this reciprocal agreement works to ensure that as a military family who is living in SFA, you can access funding to go on those higher education journeys. So can I have the next slide, please? So generally, this process works really well. It doesn't tend to cause too many problems. So for most people, it's absolutely fine. However, sometimes it can cause a couple of issues, and that's simply because the different nations have different offers. So it completely depends on yours and your serving person's circumstances as to whether or not this could cause you a few issues. So, for example, the Student Awards Agency Scotland, they don't offer grants as part of their higher education funding, but they do offer free tuition to Scottish students. So you might find that some people who are not Scottish, if they happen to go to a Scottish university and their serving person was living in Scotland at the time, they could be processed as a Scottish student and therefore be eligible for free tuition. But then on the flip side of that, if they wanted to go to university elsewhere in the UK, then they might struggle with the sort of additional living funding that the other agencies offer. So it can be a little bit confusing. It can be a bit of a minefield. I've kind of just gone through that very, very quickly. But it completely depends upon your own personal circumstances. So it's can be different for everybody. Can I have the next slide, please? So, like I say, it's completely down to your circumstances. And if what I've just said to you is completely bamboozled you, please do reach out to us for support and helping to understand how this might affect you. You can register with us at the Forces Employment Charity, and we'll be able to give you information on that. Alternatively, the Families Federations are superb at this. So the Army FamFed, the Navy FamFed, and the RAF FamFed, they're awesome with this. And the other thing to note is that if you are not a UK national, there are other residency criteria that could really impact your eligibility for this. So again, contact your Families Federation for information relating to your residency status in terms of you not being a UK citizen. So that's it from me, really. Bit like I say, a bit of a whistle-stop tour about that reciprocal agreement that affects mobile military families. And I believe the next person we have to speak to a little bit about accessing higher education courses will be Nikki from the Sparholt College Group in the Andover campus. So Nikki, over to you.
Hi, so as Jenna said, I'm Nikki Yates. So I'm assistant principal of the sixth form at our Andover campus, but we are the Sparholt College Group. So it does encompass the Sparholt campus, which is in Winchester, and our Andover campus, which is, of course, in Andover. So I'm here just to talk to you about some access to HE options. So how you can do that initial step before going to university. So a course that you could access that would then allow you to access other university courses if that's the route that you want to take. So in terms of those options that are available, in terms of the access course, depending on where you are located, different providers will have different access pathways. So if I give an overview of what the access course is, I will talk specifically about the pathways that we offer at our Andover campus. But it's just worth being aware that different providers, if you weren't able to come to the Andover campus due to location, will still offer the access course. It might just be slightly different pathways. So in terms of what the access course is, so it is a 1-year course that is designed for learners that are 19 plus. So it's a mature learner course. It is the equivalent to 3 A-levels. So it provides you with enough in terms of UCAS points and qualifications to enable you to go on to university. So we start our courses in September, they finish around June time, and you would then be able to go to university that September of following that June, following completion of your access course. In terms of entry requirements for the course, it again may vary depending on the provider that you're going to, and I know that will be dependent on your location. But in terms of our entry requirements, and these are fairly common, is to have at least a level 2 English qualification. That could be a GCSE English at grade C on the old GCSE system, or it could be a GCSE English at grade 4 on the new numerical system, or that could be a functional skills level 2 English qualification. I hasten to add, if you do not have a level 2 English qualification, that is something that we can provide support for. So we do have evening classes to help gain English and maths qualifications. And again, if you're not local to us, other providers would have that available as well. So if you don't quite meet that entry requirement, there is definitely a way to get that requirement so that you're then able to do the access course. There are a range of pathways that you can do. So as I said, if I go through the 3 that we offer, so we have a social science and social work pathway. So it kind of depends on what course it is that you are looking to do at university. So in this situation, if you were looking to do a social science, so like psychology, like sociology, or you wanted to specifically go into work with young people such as social work, this pathway would be would be an appropriate one to take. So within the social science and social work pathway, you would study psychology, you would study sociology, you would study social work units. And some examples of the modules that you might take would be forensic psychology, psychopathology. I should say, actually, because you might not be familiar with those topics, forensic psychology looking at the psychology of criminal behaviour. Psychopathology is looking at mental health, historically mental health, as well as up to the present day and what that looks like. Sociology theory, so you'd look at things like Marxism, feminism, and development of the social worker role, so kind of looking at policies that form part of being a social worker. So those are the sorts of modules that you would study as part of that social science, social work pathway. There are also core study units that would cover all three pathways, actually. And those are there to help you get back into education. So, if one of the concerns you have about doing this 1 year course to enable you to go on to university is that actually you haven't been in education for quite a period of time, my first thing would be to say that the majority, well, all of our access students are in that very same boat. So, certainly you wouldn't be alone in having had that gap. And that's what the core study units are there for as well, that cross over all of our pathways. So, they are there to look at things like referencing skills, how to structure an assignment, essay writing. So those kind of key core academic skills to get you back into studying. So those core study units cross over all pathways. And again, whichever access course you did at whichever provider, they would have those core units there to help you get back into study. So we also offer a combined science pathway, which is a pathway you'd want to take. We get a lot of people that want to do paramedic science doing a combined science pathway. We get people that are wanting to go into things like biomedical science, or occasionally we get people that are interested in some kind of medicine route. So pharmaceutical science is another one that people tend to go with combined science pathway for. It is a purely science-based pathway, hence the name. So you would do things, you'd have to do a physics unit, a chemistry unit, and a biology unit. So kind of the foundations of each of those sciences. And so, as it says, in terms of example modules, you'd look at things like foundation chemistry, biology, reproduction, genetics, anatomy, and physiology. So a very science focused pathway. It does, on the combined science pathway, you do get some optional units as well. And the purpose of that is that quite a few science-based degrees can be quite particular about which science you might need to do more of to access the course. And so having the optional units on the combined science pathway just allows you to tailor that pathway slightly towards whichever science it is that you're wanting to pursue. We then have the nursing pathway, which I'm sure you can all tell from the name of it, is very much directed at going on to be a nurse, going into nursing, or going into midwifery is the other one, actually, that a lot of our nurses are interested in going on to do. This is one of our most popular pathways, the nursing pathway. And so on this pathway, you would study psychology, as well as a lot of biology units and nursing studies as well. So again, some examples of subjects or modules that you would study. So anatomy and physiology, nursing and healthcare, so a professional studies unit, foundation biology, biomedical health psychology, for those of you wondering what that is. So it's to do with things like the psychology behind sexual health behavior, and making good health choices. So what persuades people to make good health choices, or why do they choose not to do so? And also medical psychopathology, which is mental health focused. And we do have quite a few students, actually, year on year on the nursing pathway that do have an interest in mental health nursing. The other exciting thing, actually, if you are local to the Andover campus in terms of that nursing pathway, we have just had finished building, so ready to go now, an 8-bed NHS standard hospital ward in terms of our facilities. So some really exciting facilities there as well in terms of that pathway if you're interested in going to university to become a nurse. So just to kind of recap, I guess, what this course is and those pathways. So we're talking a 1-year course equivalent to 3 A levels that carries UCAS points and would allow you after that year, after completing that course, to access a range of university degrees. And I should say as well, it's a mixture of assignments and exams, the courses, and is graded from past merit distinction. So if you've heard of BTECs, a bit like that in terms of the assessment method. And as I say, the 3 pathways that we offer at the Andover campus are the social science, social work, the combined science, and the nursing. And I haven't put it on there, but I should also say at our Sparshot campus, we do have a land-based access course. So actually, if you're interested in going into agriculture and that side of things, we do offer an access course in land-based at our Sparshot campus as an additional to that as well. So that's the access course in terms of an overview. The other thing that I thought it was just important to note, which I think goes on to my next slide, is just to kind of cover the fact that as a adult coming back into education, what we often see is nerves. So it is a very nerve-wracking thing to do to come back into education after a period of time. So if you've had a few years out where you haven't studied at all, we recognise that actually it's quite a daunting thing to think about coming back to college. And so certainly, as I've already mentioned, something I would say is, and I know a lot of our Access students, past, present, would say, do it, go for it. If it's something that you want to do, you want to go on to a university degree, the Access course is ideal to get you there. And honestly, once you're in the door, we really support with that transition coming back into college. Like I said, there's those core study units. We also have a fantastic pastoral support team and wellbeing team. So whether it's kind of low-level support you need, we have a dedicated Access to HE progress coach who's there to support you academically and emotionally in terms of that transition. We also have a great wellbeing team if actually it's kind of deeper support that you need on that front. We have our therapy dog Romeo, so he's around as well in terms of calming any nerves. But I think it would be that reassurance that you are not alone. You will be part of a team. So that pathway that you join, those students that are part of that pathway with you, you will move around your lessons together. And they really do form a close-knit support group with people from lots of different backgrounds, but also with lots of similarities in terms of where they're coming from, in terms of perhaps having children or people that just want to completely change their career path. So you will be surrounded by like-minded people who are all in the same boat, are all as nervous as you are. And we are there to provide that support and to ease that transition and to help you to succeed and get to where you want to be. So like I said, that's an overview of what the Access course is, and just a reassurance in terms of that pastoral care and that support you would get in the transition. So hopefully that answers some questions that you might have in terms of the Access to HE course. So that's me finished with my portion, and I will pass on to, I believe, Corianne at University of Winchester, if I'm correct.
Yes, hello. Thanks, Nikki. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for having me today at this event. It's really great to be here. The University of Winchester is widely recognised for its commitment to being an armed forces friendly employer, and the Defence Employer Recognition Scheme Silver Award has been awarded to us for our support of the force community and the families of military personnel. So we're really keen to support the continued learning of military families as you embark on the next stage of your career journey. So, as I say, real pleasure to be here. So today we'll be looking at briefly how you choose the right course for you at university, the support that's available to you. At Winchester, we're looking specifically at today, but more generally just to give you a flavour of what's out there. What else there is to take part in at university, how you can visit us, and then we're going to give you a top tip to get you started on writing a personal statement to finish with. So, as I say, to begin with, just briefly, we're thinking about why it is that we're going to be looking towards entering into higher education. Why is it we'd want to go to university? So simply, it's an opportunity to learn something about something you're interested in, learn more about it. This could be something entirely new. This doesn't have to be a subject you've studied before. It could be something completely different that your subjects that you've looked at previously might relate to. But yeah, as I say, it could be a completely new course, really. It could lead you into your dream career. It's possibly a chance for any young people to move away from home, learn to live independently, become financially independent, learn to cook for themselves. It's an opportunity for everyone to meet new people. So whether that's new people who come from a similar background to you, or it could be a whole new community of people that you wouldn't have had the chance to meet otherwise. It's also an opportunity to develop new skills, whether that's personal skills such as communication, or it could be academic skills such as learning how to conduct research and your independent study skills. So there's a whole host of reasons why university is a really positive step to take in your future. There's lots of positives to come from it, studying at a higher level. One of our current students we had a chat with recently, and we let them know that we were doing this talk, and we asked them about their motivations for applying for university. And they said to us that they wanted to go to university because they wanted to expand their love and passion for drama. They wanted to find new areas of passion they didn't previously know about in drama, and university seemed to be a way of learning and expanding their skills, making new friends for life, and gaining independence. So at university, there are many different courses to choose from. Even the type of course can be different. We have Bachelors of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Fine Arts. Then we have specific kind of courses for architecture, nursing, law and engineering, and then medicine as well. So there's a variety of courses just there. Not all universities will offer all types of courses, and courses can vary depending on the facilities that are available to that university. So, for example, oceanography as a subject, you might find that appearing more in universities that are by the coast. It could be that for law, universities in more central London that work in partnership with lots of big law firms can offer more law courses. Or the arts, you might look towards the Arts University of Bournemouth, or nursing and social work. If that was of interest to you, you might look towards the University of Winchester. So it's really important to find out if universities do have kind of a key subject area which they kind of offer, or a course which they're known for. If you don't know at the minute what you'd like to study, that's perfectly fine. As I say, there's lots of options to choose from, so definitely look around and see what catches your eye. If you're not sure on the course, but you know that you're going to be studying at home, it's a good idea, studying while you're living at home rather, it's a good idea to look locally, in which case that might give you an idea of the courses that are available to you, depending on your location and how far you're able to travel. If you're looking to relocate, again, you might have a few more options as to the universities you can get to, so that might expand the range of courses that you have access to. Once you've identified, the universities that you could go into, and the courses you want to explore, it's important to go onto the university website and explore the course pages. So every university should have a course page for that course, and on there you will find information about the course overview. You'll find information about the careers that course could lead on to, information about the duration of the course and the course fees, if there's any fees in addition to the tuition fees you should be aware of, and the typical entry requirements for that course. This should give you entry requirements from level 2 all the way up to level 3. So it should give you a thorough breakdown of what you're expecting and how to get access onto that course. It's really good to make notes as you go through the course pages, so you can refer back to the courses and also compare what one course at one university is like compared to the next. If you do have a career that you're looking to go into, that might make the decision for you as to which course you end up taking at university. So for example, we've mentioned nursing. Obviously there is a specific nursing course that's got a very similar curriculum no matter what university you were to take it at. Obviously because it's an NHS course, there's certain criteria that all the courses need to meet. If you don't know what career you want, again, that's perfectly fine. You may just know what subjects you enjoy studying, and it could be something you enjoy studying at school or through the Access course. So one of our current students, kind of reflecting on the process, said one of the most daunting things they found when applying for university was trying to find what course they should apply for. Remember that you'll be studying the course for some time, 3 to 6 years for an undergraduate, if you're doing it full-time or part-time, so quite a long chunk of time, so it's something you should have a love for and a passion for. Try and look for what A-levels or GCSEs you loved and see if there's any courses that relate to this. So some advice from one of our current students about starting the process. So they said to us, when I was starting the process, I looked through different university prospectuses and made a list of different courses that drew my interest. I made sure to look through the course details, what modules it entails, what type of assessments it has, what A-levels they recommend you take, and make note of what the pros and cons of each course were, as well as what university provided the course. I then went around to open days at different universities and had more open discussions with the course leaders over queries or concerns I had. So prospectuses is a really good way, again, looking at the variety of courses a university offer. You can also explore the offering through sites such as UCAS or whatuni.com. So it's definitely important to shop around and find what is going to be best suited for you. Something else to consider when looking at universities and making your choice as to which university is going to be your first firm choice is the support available. So that's basically looking at who is going to support you once you are at university. You may experience different challenges, whether that is academically, personally during your studies, or it might be that life outside of university does end up impacting your ability to study, in which case you need to be assured that you're going to be supported. Over the next couple of slides, I'm just going to touch briefly upon the different types of support services available at the University of Winchester. So our first one here is our Disabilities and Learning Diversity team. So the team are a really excellent team that offers support with any additional needs and requirements. So this may include continual support throughout your studies, whether that's access to specialist learning technologies, any kind of scribes and assistive aids, and updating learning agreements as well to make sure that you're fully supported and able to achieve your best at university. That's one of our first teams. If you declare on your UCAS form or enrolment at university that you do have a disability or mental health condition, the team will reach out to you and make sure that you've got all the support you need. We also have a mental wellbeing team at the university, which is made up of experienced counsellors and mental health advisors who provide a safe and confidential space for you to look at areas surrounding your mental health. So the team very much works with students to find what support and resource would be the most beneficial. They offer on-the-day appointments, one-off and ongoing counselling, email counselling, variety of workshops, access to self-help materials, and then can signpost to other external services as well. So it's a really, really great team to have. It's widely used across our student body, and it's something that the students can access at any point during their studies. We also have a student life advice team. So this team is kind of the first port of call for many student queries. It's a good place to go when you've got a question, but you're not sure where to direct it to. It's kind of the first stop, really, on the student services support side of things. So the team deal with pretty much everything from homesickness to family problems, personal issues, estrangement from parents, money worries, pregnancy and traumatic events. So as I say, it's a really big variety of things that the team tackle, and it's a really good place to go if you've got a question but just aren't sure where to direct it to initially. We also have an academic skills team, which is a really key team at university. So they can help with study skills, including essay writing, time management, referencing, presentation skills. They can offer these on a one-to-one basis, as well as group workshops, access to online resources, and physical materials as well. They do offer academic mentoring as well. So some of our current students in second or third year are actually matched up with one of our first year students. Again, it's study skills based, but it's also to help with that general transition from home or from college or school into a university environment. And kind of an add-on to the team is also our ELTSU team, which offers support in English language, mainly for our international students. Students and Money is another one of our great teams. So if you do have any questions about student finance loans, undergraduate funding, bursaries or scholarships, or advice on budgeting, this is the team to go to. This is a very busy team at the moment, as you can imagine, but really important to be aware of. If you are having any difficulties with finances, you're experiencing financial hardship, the team are there to support you. If you are waiting on your student loan and you haven't got it and you're not so sure why, again, the Students and Money team can support you. The bursaries and scholarships is something to definitely look at when you're looking around universities, because not all universities will offer the same types of bursaries and scholarships, and they won't have the same awards attached to them either. So particularly in the current climate, it's good to familiarise yourself with what you'd be getting if you went to that particular university. And please do reach out to the teams, the relevant teams at whatever university it is, to make sure you've got all of that information, advice and guidance. And that's just a few teams that we've mentioned today. I've listed a couple of names of other teams at the university, which can also offer help while you're studying. So we've got student support and success advisors that sit within our faculties and kind of refer on to student support and success. We've got our international team, careers and employability, and our music centre as well. So there's lots to get involved in and lots of places to go to get help. And taking part's obviously more than just your studies. University is more than just academic life. So it may be that you're at a point where, sports isn't why you're coming to university, and that's perfectly fine. There are lots of other activities, networks, groups, volunteering opportunities that may be more suitable for you. As well as meeting a lot of like-minded students. It's a great way of helping you to stand out in your CV to say that you've been involved in all these networks and committees. So in pursuit of a career after university, having these extracurricular things kind of being ticked off on your CV is really positive. So we've kind of briefly mentioned open days. Open days are a really great way to get a feel for university life. During open days at the University of Winchester, you get a chance to go around campus, see accommodation, speak with our current students and our support staff, and talk to our admissions team as well as engaging in subject taster kind of sessions as well. So I'd highly recommend booking onto open days at all universities you might be looking at. It really gives you a chance to see yourself there and see how that university feels for you. And finally, personal statement. So when you're applying to a university, you're often asked to write a personal statement. We're just going to kind of finish off our slides by giving you a tip to get you started. So before you actually sit down to write that document, you could start by creating a mind map with your chosen subject in the middle and then branching out from there. You'd be then including your soft skills like dedication, hard work, passion, work experience, previous qualifications, so your GCSEs, BTECs, access courses, your lived experience and reasons for wanting to go to university or into that particular career that you're aiming for. Once you've done that, you should have enough content for at least 3 to 4 paragraphs of your personal statement. as soon as you've done this, you can put it into sentences, and as soon as you've done that, you can put it into a structure. Then it's really important to read it out loud. And really read it out loud. This way you can catch spelling and grammar errors that are more likely to crop up, and it's more likely to hear if you've used a particular word several times in that statement as well. If you get called for an interview at your university, remember to reread your personal statement before you head into that interview, just to keep everything you've said, all the skills you've listed and reasons why you want to go to university at the very top of your brain. And finally, remember you can do it. Just believe in yourself and your abilities, and keep in the back of your mind that reason why you want to pursue that course at that university. Thank you.
Fantastic. So I think I've learned an awful lot about particularly the access courses and opportunities there, and also I've had a bit of a reminder of my years at university, and it was fantastic. So it's been lovely sort of hearing, you know, how to get to that point for people who are listening to the webinar this evening. For those of you who are listening, don't forget that if you are thinking about applying to university, and you know you registered with the Forces Employment Charity, these applications are exactly what our team are for to support you with. You know, we are the Forces Employment Charity, but we also support with accessing training. So like Corianne's just giving you some great tips on a personal statement, but don't forget our team can support you with that application process as well. We do have one question that's come up, and it says, can you go through the individual circumstances regarding funding one more time? I can give you a sort of very brief overview. I realise that funding is a very dry topic. It's not very exciting. It's hard to make exciting, but unfortunately it is something that we have to consider when it comes to higher education. So essentially, if you are a mobile military family, so if you are living in service families accommodation, then you should be applying for your student finance from the nation where your serving person lived at the time of joining the military. Like I say, I know that does sound like quite an odd approach, but essentially it's been put in place by the devolved nation governments to enable military families to access funding and not to be disadvantaged based on the fact that SFA isn't a permanent residence. So just sort of to say it again, if you are in service families accommodation, you should be applying for student finance from the nation where your serving person lived at the time of joining the military. It's not something that I can detail individually for people. It depends entirely on your own personal circumstances. But like I say, if you want to reach out to us, register with us, and we can look at your personal circumstances. Alternatively, the Families Federations are brilliant with this kind of thing as well. And we have one more question.
Did you want me to so I can see it's
Heather says, we're going to be posted in Italy. Will an access course to higher education for midwifery be available online? So that will be with you, Nikki.
Yeah, so we so at Andover campus, we don't currently offer any of our access to HE courses online, but it is something that we're looking to develop for the academic year, not starting in September, but the following year, as we recognise that actually that would be really useful for quite a few mature learners. It could be something that you could look into, as there might be other providers in terms of the access course online. The only thing that could potentially be an issue with the access to HE for midwifery being online is some of the practical aspects that you might need to do as part of the biology course that would form a key part of a midwifery course. So certainly have a look. It might be that some providers do offer an online access course. In fact, I know that there will be providers that offer an access to HE course online. As I said, ourselves, Andover campus, we're looking to do that for not this academic year, but the following one. But something to be wary of would be that with a midwifery course, there would be a heavy biology aspect, and that would involve doing quite a lot of practicals. which would obviously be difficult to do if you were online. Unfortunately, I don't know much about provision in Italy in terms of access and whether that be something you could access over there. So apologies if that's not a particularly helpful answer, but hopefully it gives some kind of answer.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nikki. I think that is it in terms of questions. So I think that just leaves me to wrap it up. Thank you very much, Nikki and Corianne, for joining us. Thank you for your presentations. Loads of really, really great information. So that's brilliant. And thank you everybody who is tuned in tonight. It's an evening, so it's lovely of you to give up your time to join us tonight. Like I say, please do reach out if you'd like any help or support. If you want to register with us at the www.forceemployment.org.uk, then please do. And we would love to be able to support you on your onward journey. Thanks very much and have a good evening.
Thank you.